All right, folks. Welcome back to the XHL, brand new hockey league, and doing a little change of plans now because originally we are going to build all of the teams. We're just going to build them first, and we are going to do the draft, and we are going to go from there. Well, it turns out, as we found out when we built our first team, the Atlanta Firestorm, you have to put everybody on the roster. You can't just make the team and save it and add the players later. You're stuck into having to put all the entire roster together. So I figure, let's go ahead and just do the draft now. We'll knock it out, then we'll go through all the creations, we'll make the teams, and then we can just assign the roster and go from there. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do the draft. I've originally said I was going to do 8 teams. I've now kind of leaned and decided on 10 teams just because I couldn't decide which cities I wanted to do and all that fun stuff. So we're going to go with 10 teams, and I also don't, it's got to be at least 40 people to a roster, so that'd be at least a 40-round draft. That's a really long draft. I haven't decided if I'll do half now, half later, if we'll just do random players after that, but we're going to at least do the big names. We're going to see how far we can go. And I will be 100% honest, there are a lot of hockey players, hockey names. I know, I watch my Red Wings, I watch the Minnesota Wild. Those are my 2 teams. But especially with last season, where you only got to see a quarter of the league, I don't know a lot of a lot of players, foreign names and stuff up and down. I name pronunciation, all that fun stuff. So we might be YouTubing a lot of names, like a lot of these player names, because we only got to see a quarter of the league last year, and even the last year and a half, because when the league came back after the pandemic, you only got to play so many teams too. So it's been almost 2 years that I've seen most of the league play, because I really just watch my teams. And we're going to be drafting a lot of the legends too. And I know most of the legends, but there's some players going way, way back, like the 50s and 60s and all that, of French-Canadian names and things like that. So we're going to learn also. We're going to go on YouTube. We're going to learn some of these names, and we're going to have our fun with that. But I've decided to do a mix of not just the legends. Most of them are going to be legends, but we're going to do a lot of the big current players. So like the Connor McDavids and the Sidney Crosbys and Alex Ovechkins and Steven Stamkos. It's going to be the best of the best in this league, this Legends League, and we're going to create the rules too at some point where there basically are going to be no rules. So here's the teams we're going to go with. It's going to be a 10-team draft, and the teams I've settled on, 2 Canadian teams. We're going to do, and I looked up too, I Googled popular cities that would be good for hockey teams, and these were some of the most popular ones that came out. So 2 Canadian cities, we're going to do Quebec City, and we're going to do Hamilton. So those will be our 2 Canadian cities. And then we already know the Atlanta Firestorm. We already made them. But we're also going to do Orlando, Kansas City, Houston, Hartford, Michigan. I haven't decided if we'll do Ann Arbor, if it'll just be Michigan in general. So these are all kind of open. Wisconsin, most likely, will be Milwaukee, but again, haven't decided. And North Dakota. And again, haven't decided if we're going to put them in a city or it's just going to be North Dakota in general. But those are your 10. So again, Quebec City, Hamilton, Atlanta, Orlando, Kansas City, Houston, Hartford, Michigan, Wisconsin, and North Dakota. So the order of the draft, we're going to go snake style, and we're going to do random pick. I have a number generator on my phone here, random number. So the order that I just listed to you, that I said, is the order that I have written down, and we're going to do a random number down. So like Quebec City is 1, Hamilton 2, Atlanta 3, all the way down. I'm going to do a random generator now, and that's going to be pick 1 through 10. Then we'll go reverse order, 10 through 1, all the way up and down. We got to have at least 40 players. Like I said, we might do half now and then go back and do the other half later, depending on how in-depth and deep. AEW is also starting at 8, so I got to decide if I'm just going to watch that later, try to catch it. I don't know if I'll have time to watch it tomorrow because of the Buccaneers game that I'm going to. That's going to be an all-day event. But let's just go ahead and jump into this now, and we'll see if we get a big response. We'll keep going. If not, we might do half the draft now, half the draft later, and then we'll get into building the team. So, like I said, it's going to be at least several streams of building the teams before we even get to gameplay. But then after that, it'll be on to the season. I'm still planning on a 10-week season. So now, with 10 teams, that means they'll play every team at least once, and then I guess, another team to get that 10th game, unless we just do a 9-game season, but you got to have 5 home, 5 away. And then I've kind of decided now the playoffs is going to be 5 teams getting in. So the number 1 seed will get a bye week, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5, will get into the first round, and then the 3 winners from, or I should, no, because that wouldn't work. It wouldn't be 5, because then you'd have 4, and they'd have to, maybe we got to do 6 then. Maybe 6 make it, and the top 2 teams go on, because the math doesn't really work out. 5, because you'd have 2 winners, and you'd still have an extra game. So why don't we do the top 6? We'll decide, either 6 or 4, depending on. Why don't we just make the rules? You have to have a winning record. You have to have at least a winning record to get to the playoffs, and that'll kind of decide it. Maybe we'll just go with that. You have to win at least 6 or more games to be a playoff team, and maybe we only have 3 playoff teams. Maybe we have 5 playoff teams, and we kind of decide from there. So, okay, let's go ahead and do the random number generator. And number 10 comes up first. So North Dakota will draft first overall. And most likely they're going to go to Wayne Gretzky. So we're going to do our next number generator. It is number 2, and that is going to be Hamilton. So Hamilton will draft next. We don't know any of the team names, so if you have any team name suggestion, we only know Atlanta is going to be the Firestorm. I'm going to go ahead and type that in now. But if you have any other ideas, and I'm going to name this, put it on the desktop here. I'm going to save this file, do all this in a Word document. The XHL Draft. Yes. So, and then next is number 1, which would be Quebec City. So your order is North Dakota, Hamilton, Quebec City. Up next is 6, which would be Kansas City. So Kansas City will draft 4th overall. Next random number is 2, which we already had. So let's just go from the ones that are left. So 2 would be Orlando. So Orlando will go after Kansas City. Number 1 would be Atlanta. That's left on our list. Now we're down to 4. So we're going to take the number generator down to 4. And random pick. And number 4 comes up. So Wisconsin will draft next. They're after Atlanta. So we're down to Houston, Hartford, and Michigan. And number 1 comes up. So that's Houston. So it's down to Hartford or Michigan. Hartford is 2. And Michigan is 3. And Hartford. So Michigan will draft 10th in the draft. So let's get going. So again, we're going to start off right off the bat with North Dakota, and they hit the jackpot. They drafted first overall, so alumni all-time, of course, right there. The man, the first overall draft pick, they're going to go with Wayne Gretzky at 59. He's still a 97 overall, so we're going to lock him in. He is a center. I got to write all these down. Doing this on the fly, so no fancy on-screen graphics. So Wayne Gretzky. And you got to wonder what team's going to go with goalies. And if you're joining us in the chat too, suggest what players should the guys draft? Goalies, defensemen, centers, wingers, what should they go with off the bat? Patrick Waugh's on the board, Mario Lemieux. There's Gordie Howe. So let's see. Hamilton is up next. Hamilton is going to go with the center. They're going to take Mario Lemieux. One of the greats. Watched him in Pittsburgh for many years. He was awesome. Had a Mario Lemieux jersey when I was growing up. And so Mario Lemieux. L-E. Writing all these down. M-I-E-U-X. Mario Lemieux off to Hamilton. Quebec City is drafting next. They're going to go for a goalie. They're going to go ahead and make sure they're set. They're going to go with Patrick Waugh in goal. So picking a goalie off the board, going to Quebec City. And oddly enough, Quebec, they ended up moving to Colorado to become the Colorado Avalanche. So he's kind of going back a little bit to, former place. So number 33, Patrick Waugh. So see, I know some hockey, amateur hockey. They'd probably call him Patrick Roy, but we know better. So up next is Kansas City. And they're going to take Gordie Howe, the legend. Look at that, black and white. Number 9 at right wing. The Detroit Red Wing legend. He is going to Kansas City, so he won't be going to Michigan. And Kansas City is going to take Mr. Gordie Howe. All right, up next is Orlando. And so, like I say, here's some names like these. I mean, French, no idea how to say. Believe-you? We'd have to look that one up together. We have Brodeur. Does Orlando want to get a top goalie? I think they are. They are going to take Martin Brodeur, the former New Jersey Devil, won some Stanley Cups in his day. I gotta put I did my Gordie Howe backwards. So right wing. Number 9. I'm writing all these down and putting the position first, then the number. So Orlando is going to take a goalie. They're going to take Martin Brodeur. What do you guys think so far? First couple of picks off the board. Love the Legends. Would you guys like to see this with baseball? Can we find a Legends roster with MLB The Show and make like a... I don't know, we can't really do any crazy baseball. That's part of the fun of doing your own league, is you can make these crazy rules. And I guess we could do like a Legends league for baseball, but... So let's see. Does anybody want to take... Bellevue? Let's we'll look him up. He's old school. Look at that, 89. Say it's Gene. Bellevue. Here we go. His name's on the Stanley Cup 17 times. I should have more respect for him. Bellevue. And it's John. That's French. John Bellevue. So they say John Bellevue. So you know what? We got him up. That's who Atlanta's going to take. They want a solid center, a playmaker. They're going to take John Bellevue. We haven't had any current players go yet off the board. They've all been legends. So Bellevue is going to the Atlanta Firestorm. That's the only team name that we know so far. I've been playing around some other names in my head of potential team names. The Arctic Foxes is one I used with my created teams before. I kind of like that one. I always like the name Evil. There's a paintball team that they used to, when they played paintball on ESPN, it was called the Evil. I kind of like that team name. A little bit. The Voodoo, I always like that when the arena football team, I don't know if Voodoo makes sense for any of the teams that are on the board. Do we bring back the Whalers for Hartford? So I've had some kind of those ideas in my head, but if you have any ideas of any team names or anything like that, or draftees, please jump in the comments and draft along with us for sure. So we're going to keep going now, way down to the final 4 picks in round number 1. I'm going to do a quick recap. North Dakota taking Wayne Gretzky first overall. Hamilton drafting Mario Lemieux. Quebec City taking Patrick Waugh. Kansas City taking Gordie Howe. Martin Brodeur going to Orlando. And John Bellevue to the Atlanta Firestorm. The old, I'll just assume, I don't know if he's French-Canadian, but going off of the name. Wisconsin's up next, so you got Nicholas Lindstrom still on the board, Mark Messier in the 90s. It looks like Wisconsin's going to search here in the NHL and maybe look for a top player here. Let's see. There's not an all roster. You got to go to the All-Star, so most of the top NHL players start in the 90s. There's still some 94s on the board. Sidney Crosby also on the board. Looking to go current day. You got some 92s. Patrick Kane there. I wish you could just look at everybody. There's Connor McDavid at 95. So do you go with the young guy? Do you go with the legend? I wonder if there's any higher rated teams that didn't make the higher rated players that made the All-Star team. I would imagine if you're in the 90s, you were probably on an All-Star team. It's looking like that is the case. I'm not seeing any names that weren't on those all-star rosters. So looks like Wisconsin does want to draft. They want to draft modern day, and they are going to go with Sidney Crosby. Off to Wisconsin. Sid the Kid, number 87, the center. So we've seen a number of centers that have come off the board so far. We have seen 4 of them: Lemieux, Gretzky, Belevu, and Crosby. I know I'm butchering that name so bad, but it's a new one for me, even though his name's on the cup 17 times. Way before my time, probably way before anyone's time that's watching this. So Sidney Crosby going to Wisconsin. Houston is up next, and Houston is going back to the Legends, and they are going to go center, and they're going to go Mark Messier, so another center coming off the board, going down south to Houston. Houston was a late addition. Houston and Hamilton weren't originally going to be part of the league, but when I looked up big cities that would support hockey teams, Houston and Hamilton both kept coming up all the time, especially Houston, which I was a little surprised about. I didn't think, too much about Houston. They have the Dallas Stars, of course, but I didn't think too much about Houston or any of the other Texas cities, but Houston's name kept popping up a lot. So Hartford, of course, everyone, the Hartford Whalers. And, do you go defenseman off the bat, even though Nicholas Lindstrom, one of the best, you got to go goalie, you got to go goal scorer, right? So Nicholas Lindstrom is going to be interesting because you go defense right away, and it looks like Maurice Richard is going to come off next for Hartford, so that's going to be a right winger. They're going offense, and Richard is headed to Hartford. Hockey back in Connecticut. And I will get all these, before we start playing the games too, I will get all these name pronunciations down. But again, that's another one that's way before my time. Look at that age. The 99-year-old heading to Hartford. And Michigan, the final pick, but they get to pick 2 in a row because we go snake style. So Michigan is going to go next. And they are going to take Peter Forsberg, the former Colorado Avalanche, headed to Michigan. Big rivalry, the Red Wings and the Avs, but he is headed to Michigan. So another center coming off the board, and they're going to draft twice. So even though they have to draft last, they get the slight advantage of getting to draft 2 in a row. And, you can couple that with North Dakota. They got the best pick, the number 1 pick off the top, the best player in the draft, but they have to wait, 20 picks to get their next pick in. And so with their next pick, they are going to take Nicholas Lindstrom. Why not? Because you can add that defenseman in now that you can pick back-to-back. So Nicholas Lindstrom returning home to Michigan. And we haven't decided, again, where are we going to put this Michigan team? People say Ann Arbor is a big, popular hockey town. Do we want to stick them at the college campus? Obviously, we don't want to have 2 Detroit teams, but we can go Ann Arbor. Where else can we put them? Michigan, Grand Rapids. What other big places in Michigan would we want to put? Or do we just call them Michigan? Maybe they can just be the entire state. So Hartford is going to be up next. And they are going to go with, do we go with the Jacques Plante? Is that how we say that one? Let's look this one up. This is old school. But he would be solid because he's a 94 overall. One of the second searches is Jacques Plante gets hit in the face. Someone that's a big hockey fan is going to hate how I butcher these names, but, we're Googling them. They're all in the NHL. Jacques Plante. Jacques Plante. They argue from 52 to 73. So Hartford is going to take Jacques Plante, get some goalie action in there. Number 1. He old school for their helmets and stuff. So Plant. This is pretty once you see it. All right, so up next is Houston, who took Mark Messier. Maybe they want to get a goalie. Do they want to get in on the action? There's Glenn Hall, a 93. What do you think? They're going to go ahead and take a goalie. So Houston with Mark Messier first, their second overall pick is going to be goaltender Glenn Hall. All right, Wisconsin. They went Sidney Crosby. Do they go defenseman? Do they go goalie? Do they want to go modern day again? They want to stick with the offense. There's plenty of 93s out there. Do they want to get another... What do they want to go with? Well, let's see. They're looking modern. Again, I don't know if we have any top players. These are all 50. What about international? Do they have any top... These guys are... You kind of have to go country by country. I suppose these would all be the same NHL players, right? So, they're gonna look modern. Let's see if there's any top-rated goalies out there. You got Connor Hellebuck there, and a 90. You got Carey Price. Okay, looking there. The Central All-Stars. Still a lot of 90 pluses on the board here. Really, if you're looking for a goalie, you got Andrew Vasilevsky from the world champion, back-to-back world champion Lightning at 91. So with a lot of 90 pluses, do you overlook that just to be able to get a goalie on your roster? I mean, there's a lot of good goalies. Tuukka Rask is still on the board at a 90. Or do you take a guy that won back-to-back cups? Do you go ahead and take Vasilevsky? John Gibson, I think with a solid 91 on the board, they're going to go modern again, and Andre Vasilevsky is going to go to Wisconsin. So they take Sidney Crosby, and they take the back-to-back Stanley Cup goalie in Andre Vasilevsky. So he is off the board, so they are staying very modern. Are the Wisconsin team, whoever they might end up being. Cool. So now we are back to Atlanta, who drafted Jean Beliveau in the first round, the center. So let's go back to the alumni all-time. I got them all written down. It's going to be hard to remember who got drafted, who didn't. Hall went. Do they go double offense? Maybe all these guys got drafted, right? Maybe Grant Lafleur, or Guy, I should say. Guy, I'm saying Grant. Guy Lafleur. He is a 93 overall. Do you go 93 left wing center, or right wing center rather? Teemu Selanne there. Coffee. I think they're going to take Mr. Lafleur. They're going to go all offense here, so no goalie drafted just yet. They are going to take Mr. Lafleur. So there you go, off to Atlanta. So we know Beliveau and Lafleur. Well, we had no Atlanta, so Orlando took a goalie first overall, so now they'll be looking to jump into the offensive category here, you would think, or they can go defensive. Let's see what's on the table here. A couple of 90s, but it looks like they are going to go modern. The Orlando team looking to go modern, and who are they looking for? They're going to take the young man. They're going to draft Connor McDavid, number 2 overall, the 95 to go with Martin Brodeur. So Connor McDavid, the current Oiler, is now headed down south to Orlando to fill out their roster. Kansas City's up next. They took Gordie Howe, and let's see, they look like they're going to stay local too, or they're going to stay modern. Let's say local and go modern. Who are they looking for? Nothing there they want. They are going to take Alex Ovechkin. So you're going to have in Kansas City on one line, you're going to have Gordie Howe, and then you're going to have Alex Ovechkin, left and right wing. That's going to be deadly. That's going to be awesome. Watch out for Kansas City. But all these rosters, I mean, you have 10 rosters here. They're all going to be stacked with all-star players, so it's going to be fun. And I know it's fun because I play this style with my NFL or All-Pro Football 2K, and I have my all-star rosters, and it is very, very fun playing with the top players and the top teams. But I've never done this for hockey before, so this will be my first time. I have done it for basketball. I don't play any basketball on this channel because I don't have any basketball games on the PS4, but on my Switch, you have all the old basketball players, and I have a fantasy draft season with all the old players, and it's really, really fun. So now, back to Quebec City. They took Patrick Waugh, first overall. Let's see who they're going to go with now. Quebec City is going to go with Larry Robinson. They're going to go Canadian again. And you see former Montreal. So they took Patrick Waugh, and they're going to take Larry Robinson. So they're really focusing where some teams are focusing on offense. They're going to focus on defense. If no one can score on us, who matters? What matters, right? So Larry Robinson will be headed to Quebec City. Hamilton, they took Mario Lemieux, first overall. Who else are they going to take? They're going to draft Teemu Selanne, the former Mighty Duck, to go with Lemieux. So that's kind of a 90s roster right there in Hamilton. So number 66, Mario Lemieux, and number 8, Teemu Selanne. Writing it down. All right. And then back to number 1. So they had to wait to come all the way back. Wayne Gretzky, who was drafted first overall, the best. Who are they going to get to go with Wayne Gretzky? So they already got a center. Do you go for more offense? Do you try to pick up a goalie? Let's go with the Alumni Association. Are there any top goalies in here? Jean-Sebastien Giguère. I guess you can find some other players here. Are there any top goalies? We have Cujo, but he's in the 80s. There's still plenty of 90s on the board, so you're reaching if you're trying to get one of these players. Now here's a top goalie right here, Grant Fleur. Man, he was awesome back in his heyday, but he's in the 80s. So again, you got Mike Vernon on the board here, so you get a lot more players if you go to this list here. But you can't see everybody. You got to go team by team, which is not ideal. We could go defense. We can go Paul Coffey, a solid 93. Was still on the board. Chris Chelios, also on the board. Glenn Hall, he already went off the board to Houston, so he's out of here. Ed Belfour, I mean, he was awesome, a 90 overall. Who's going to be behind Gretzky? Patrick Waugh is already well off the board. Gordie Howe's on the board, off the board. Nicholas Lindstrom also. What about Mr. Sawchuk? He is a 94 overall. He's a goalie, and that is who North Dakota is going to take. So at goalie, they're going to take Terry Sawchuk. And so the goalies that are off the board, Sawchuk to North Dakota. You have Patrick Waugh to Quebec City. You have Brodeur to Houston. You have Andrew Vasilevsky to Wisconsin. You have Glenn Hall to Houston. You have Jacques Plante to Hartford. And those are the goalies that are so far off the board. Now North Dakota gets to draft again. So there's your other big opportunity there. And Detroit's got a lot of solid 90 players overall. What do you guys think? Defense? Should we go offense for North Dakota? Mark Messier, Edmonton got a lot of solid alum too. Paul Coffey at 93 if they wanted to go the Edmonton route. So a lot of top players on there. Pronger for defenseman is Brandon Shanahan, but there's still 90s there. Robinson already went, and they already have a center. That's the North Stars. Minnesota Wild, the Canadiens. Defense. There's a lot of top defensemen still out there, but teams need the offense, right? Let's oh boy, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back here and go back to just the all-time roster. Again, he hasn't been drafted yet. Joe Sakic. Don't worry, did we take? Did Sakic go yet? So after a while, it's gonna get hard to lose track. I don't know if I'm gonna do all 40 rounds, but they already have a center, so they don't need him. Solani. So Paul Coffey's there again. The rest are kind of top centers and defensemen. So it looks like they're going to go ahead and go defensemen, so they will take Paul Coffey. So Gretzky, Sawchuk, and Coffey will be headed to North Dakota, which is still a solid roster. So we're into the third round now. And Hamilton, who drafted a center and a right wing, they're going to be looking for goalie work next. Let's see. They're searching for a goalie. Got to snag one soon. Are there any top goalies left? What about Dominic Hasek? Is he in this? Would he be with Buffalo? Did he make the cut in this game? He would be in the tops, right? If he's even in the games. I don't think he is. Yeah, no Hasek. Let's see. All the caps are in the 80s. Here's a goalie. Johnny Bauer, a 92. Are we getting much higher than that, a 92 for a goalie? Center, no. That might be one of the better goalies left on the board, and then after that, you're going to have to go modern day. It doesn't look like too many of the classic goalies are in this game. What about Billy Smith? Look at the stash on Billy Smith. He's a 91. You know what? I'm going to take Billy Smith off to Hamilton with that mustache, the 92. So they're going to get their goalie is Hamilton. So they got Mario Lemieux, Teemu Selanne, and Billy Smith so far. So Quebec City's up next. They've gone all defense so far. Patrick Waugh and Larry Robinson is who they took. And it looks like they are going to go modern here. And they are going to take... Now, this one I'll have to look up. Because this is a new one for me. It's looks like the Jets there. And again, I didn't get to see a lot of the Canadian teams for quite a while because of the COVID. They had all the teams split apart. So Leon Draisaitl, it looks like. And yes, he plays for the Oilers. So let's look at this.
Around Lehkonen, gets it back, hits for the net, quick shot. And that needed night off for Mike Smith, not the case. Draisaitl open, trying to go back door, quick shots. Smith fires it up to McDavid.
Looks like just Draisaitl. Draisaitl. Leon Draisaitl. Good enough. So that's who they're going to take, Quebec City. So he's going to stay Canadian. Leon Draisaitl. It's like a Z sound, Draisaitl. Like I said, I know big hardcore hockey fans probably hate me butchering these names. I like hockey as much as the next guy, but I usually only have time because, well, there's only so much time in between all the wrestling and everything that's out there. I only have time to watch my teams. So I'm not watching a lot of the Canadian teams, especially like so with the pandemic and everything. So Draisaitl, Leon Draisaitl, Larry Robinson, Patrick Waugh, Quebec City. So now Kansas City, Gordie Howe, Ovechkin. Are they going to stick offense? There's they can get offense. They could go for another goalie. They can wait. We don't need free agents. We want all time. Let's see what they don't have a center yet. Maybe they're going to go for a top line. Let's see what centers are still available. Sakic came off the board, didn't he not? No, there's no Joe Sakic, so he hasn't been drafted yet. And that is indeed who they are going to take in Kansas City. So the roster, this starting line might be one of the best in the league. I think you can argue that now. Whether or not they lose by way of a goalie or they think offensively, that's all that's going to matter because there are no rules in this league. I'm going to try to turn off, all offsides, everything, so that you're starting 3 on the line for Kansas City. Gordie Howe, Alex Ovechkin, Joe Sakic. That is a top line. Orlando, they have taken Connor McDavid and Martin Brodeur so far. Looks like they're going to stick here in the... they already got centers, so they don't need any more centers. What about defense? They're going to go Chris Pronger, one of the top defensemen here. He's going to go off the board to Orlando. So Martin Brodeur, Connor McDavid, and Chris Pronger. Do they have stats on only 13 games played? Drafted by Hartford. It'd be cool if they had all-time stats or something on here. So now we are to Atlanta, who took Jean Beliveau and Guy Lafleur, center and right wing. Are they going to look for a goalie? Nope. They're going to go left wing. They're going to stay offense. They're going to go with Luc Robitaille, the left winger. So they're going all offense too. Is their trio going to be enough to compete? Lafleur, Robitaille, and Beliveau to Atlanta. Wisconsin drafted center and goalie off the bat. All these guys went other than centers, right? Coffey went, Solani. They are going to take... Did Pronger go yet? He's still on the table. They're going to take Brett Hull. He is headed off to Wisconsin to join Sidney Crosby on their front line. We're almost done with the third round. It's almost AEW time, too. So maybe we'll do a watch-along for a little bit, because this, the draft, it goes enough where I can stop and watch. So Brett Hull. Maybe we'll do half now and half later, depending on how far we get, or at least get maybe the first 10 done, and then take a break and come back, because who knows, maybe we'll get to all 40 the way it's going here. So up next is Wisconsin. Mark Messier, Glenn Hall have been drafted so far, and they're going to take some centers. Centers that are still out there. Let's see, Sakic. He already went. I wish you could divide these up by players. There's really no way to order these, which is unfortunate. So they're going to go with a center. They're going to go with the guy that's been tearing it up in the front office. Stevie Yzerman is going to... Or no, Houston doesn't need a center, so they don't need... You know what? They're just going to take it. They want 2 centers because there's other lines. They're going to take Steve Yzerman. They don't care. They want 2 top captains. So, Steve Yzerman, Mark Messier, Glenn Hall will all be part of the same team, and we got our first team to double up on position here. Hartford, they took Maurice Richard and Jacques Plante. And they are going to go with... So they went right wing. They got their goalie. They're going to take Dale Hawerchuk. He'll be heading to Hartford. So their center is now off the board. Or they got their first center. So he's off the board. Into Hartford, originally drafted by the Jets. So up next is Michigan, and of course they're going to draft back-to-back. They took Peter Forsberg and Nicholas Lindstrom, and they are going to go for a goalie, and they're going to go modern. So they're going to try to take one of the top goalies that are out there. Suppose you want to look at the all-star roster to get a good idea of a goalie. You know, Hallebuck is still there. Carey Price in the 90s. Central didn't have any good goalies, huh? Sid the Kid. Took a Rask. I think John Gibson's a possibility to 90 for Michigan. Let's see. Maybe we can just go team by team. We already know Vasilevsky went. Vegas, I mean, Fleury in 89. They already got rid of him, though. Anaheim, Boston, Calgary. Grubauer is good in real life, but I guess in the game they don't rate him very highly at all on here. Ben Bishop's in the 80s, so we don't want to. We're still drafting everybody in the 90s, so you're stretching or you're reaching here if you start digging down to start drafting fellas. But they want a goalie. They're looking for a goalie. There's Carey Price in the 90s. You can either take Carey Price or a couple of 90s. I mean, I suppose age doesn't really matter because we're not focusing on age. Obviously, Hellebuck is in the 90s as well. Vasilevsky already got taken. What roster had a bunch of the... Was it the Metropolitan? No, it was... Could have been Pacific here. Yes, they had John Gibson. There's Fleury at 89. So, Gibson... Looks like your choices are going to be Gibson. There's no top goalies there either. Oh, Vasilevsky, but he already went. So it's going to be Gibson, Hallebuck, Carey Price. What do you guys think? Price stronger? Or Hallebuck? 6'4", 207? 6'3", 220? Carey Price did take him to a championship recently, so they're going to take Carey Price. So he's going to be your goaltender in Michigan. And they get to draft again. So they are going to... Looks like they're going to stay modern. Going to stay with the modern era here. What are they going to take? We're now officially in round number 4. They already got a center, but this man could play right wing. They're going to take Nate McKinnon. So he is off to Michigan. So Forsberg, Lindstrom, Carey Price, and Nate McKinnon. So he can also play center. They can move him to right wing, whichever. Yeah. There we go. How long are we into this thing? We are 42 minutes in with AEW starting right around the corner. I might just prop it up on my phone here and just take a look at what's going on. Maybe we'll listen to it in the background while we're drafting players. Hartford is up next. They got right wing, goalie, and center already taken off the board. I think I have to do it this way too because I made my Atlanta team, but they're not even an option, so I wouldn't even be able to move players. Like I literally have to know who the players are ahead of time, and then draft him over, so that's okay. So right wing goalie and center already off the board for Hartford. Now it's getting a little tougher to remember who all went where. I can obviously do a search here, but for Hartford, maybe they want to start looking defensive-wise. Coffey's already off the board. Lindstrom already went. Robinson. What about Mr. Bork? I don't. We didn't draft Ray Bork yet, so we are going to take him. So he will head to Hartford, number 7, at 59 years old. And now off to Houston. They got 2 centers. They got a goalie. Don't need another center. Lane defenseman still on the board. And now you're getting into the 80s. So you might have to get you might have to go modern. All-time grit. Chris Chelios. That's defense. Well, here's another 90. We got, Ted Lindsay, a classic. So that is who Houston is going to draft. So they're going to take the left winger. That will take Ted Lindsay. When was he drafted, man? He was drafted, it doesn't even say, unavailable. Come on now, maybe. So long ago, wasn't even drafted. Ted Lindsay. So Mark Messier, Glenn Hall, Steve Yzerman, and Ted Lindsay are in Houston. Wisconsin, then they got Sidney Crosby, Andrew Vasilevsky, and Brett Hull. So they can possibly look for defense help if they want it. Chris Chelios, he's still on the board, and that's who they're going to take. Wisconsin going to go for the defense, and they're going to draft the longtime Flyer, Chelios. All right. I'm going to load up the phone here because AEW is starting soon, and we want to keep an eye on the game. Bound for Glory also tonight, so it is a busy wrestling night, right? I'm going to pull up my cable app here and get the AEW going, and we'll be peeking up and down. One moment, please. Loading. Load. Here we go. As they're playing a movie on TNT, like always. What is this, Aquaman or something? They're underwater. There's a Jaws. Someone's swimming with fish. Anyway, so we got that going. So let's keep going. Atlanta up next. We got Belevo, we got Lafleur, and we got Robitaille. So no goalies yet for Atlanta. Maybe they're going to want to jump on that. Well, we got one. Well, no, Billy Smith already got drafted. I thought, so he's already off the table. Goalies, Atlanta, time for goalie. What about, let's go with Belfour. Ed Belfour. As opposed to Grant Balfour for the, formerly of the Tampa Bay Rays. So he's off the board now. Orlando up next. Their recap, they drafted Martin Brodeur, Connor McDavid, Chris Pronger. So a lot of defense. They some solid names on this Western all time. Solani's already gone. Hull is already gone. My God, this music. I hope hope YouTube doesn't copyright get me. I have to edit this out. It's just blaring from behind. But they are going to take Jerome McGinley to Orlando to get some help offensively. So he will join the line with Connor McDavid. Jerome McGinley. All right. AEW time. We'll do like a watch along. It's partial watch along, partial draft. We're past the fourth round. I'll probably just maybe get to round 10 and then call it for today. And if this is interesting, we can do it again. If not, I'll just burn through this quickly and just let you know the rest of the roster. Because, I mean, after you get the main starting 10, I don't know, it can still be interesting. But now we're off to Kansas City. So they have got Gordie Howe. I think they got one of the top offensively. They got Gordie Howe. They got Alex Ovechkin. They got Joe Sakic. They're going to want to get some goalie help at some point, too. And, you know, they can go Grant Fleur, who is an 89, which is still solid. Let's see. So they have all-time stars, but then it stops after a certain point. Like, it only goes down so far, and it's just like, nope, that's it. So... yeah, he already went. Brodeur already went. So we might be dropping to the 80s now for goalies, which that's what happens. You get a stacked top line, but now for if you want goalies, you're going to be going down unless looks like they may go modern, and they are going to go ahead and take Mr. Connor Hellebuck. So he will be off to Kansas City to try to back up this amazing, solid line, this front line that they're going to have. Connor Hellebuck. All right, Quebec City goalie, defense, and center. Daniel Bryan's coming out now on AEW, but Patrick Waugh, Larry Robinson, and Leon Draisaitl has come, so let's see. Maybe they'll stay modern. We're already here. There's Draisaitl there, and they already took a center. Any top 90s left? They are going to go with Patrick Kane. So a modern pick here to Quebec City. 4th pick overall. Patrick Kane, number 88. Maybe we can do an all-star game with these, you know, take the top roster. I can try to keep stats because hockey won't be too hard. We just got to total up assists and goals, right? So Daniel Bryan, he's going to be taking on the... Dustin Rhodes. That's right, it's part of this tournament here. Hamilton's up next. They've drafted Mario Lemieux, Teemu Selanne, Billy Smith. And perhaps they are going to stay modern as well. Maybe get defensive here, some defensemen. Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin already went. Because we don't really need backup goalies because we're not going to be doing like real life. We're only playing 10-game season, so it's not like we're going to need a substitute goalie or anything like that. So pretty much once you already got your goalie, that's your guy. Now you will have to have a second goalie on your team because in case of an injury, but I don't think we're going to have injuries carry over from game to game. Let's go with Mitchell Marner. Why not add some? They already have one right wing, but again, what the heck? It doesn't hurt to stack your team because there's more than one line. So So Mitchell Marner will head to Hamilton. And we're back to North Dakota. They're going to draft 2 in a row again. They took Wayne Gretzky, first overall, then Terry Sawchuk, followed up by Paul Coffey. And it looks like they're going to head back to the Legends. So they want to add here. So all these guys already went off the board. A lot of centers left. They're going to go defensive again, so they're really stacking defensive-wise, especially if they're going to have 2 back-to-back picks. They're going to take Al McInnes. I don't think Al's not off the board yet, right? We're going to do a quick search. Ovechkin, Hall. Nope. So, after a certain point, someone help me in the chat. Remind me the guys that have been drafted. Once certain guys have gone, it's hard to remember. McInnes. And they get to draft again. So we're in the 5th round. So we're already cruising through this. So it only took about an hour to get through the first 5. So in the next hour, we'll be done with the next 10. And I think that might be a good stopping point. We'll get through the first 10, and then we could pick it up another day. And then maybe we can, once we get to the later rounds, maybe we can keep the order, but we can let teams draft 2 at a time. And that'll get us through quicker as we get to the later rounds. And then it'll be a real big advantage if you're one of the snake teams at the bottom. You can draft 4 in a row and kind of go from there. So North Dakota gets to draft again, and we're getting down to the 80s now, unless they're going to start doubling up, like taking another center, taking another, we're starting to get down into the 80s for players here. Where's Connor McDavid? David already went. Marner already went off the boards. Again, goalies and centers seem to be some of the only 90s that are still on the board. What about Huberdeau? Did he go yet? I don't remember. Did we draft him? No. So that's who they're going to take. They're going to take Jonathan Huberdeau. We had our issues with him on our Red Wings, which we're going to get back to playing the Red Wings. We're going to have all kinds of stuff. Like, we're going to have series we don't touch for a while, but then we'll jump back in and do all that fun stuff. So, yeah. Huberdeau. Right now, Danielson's kind of got Mr. Rhodes, Mr. Dustin tied up in crazy submission hold. So North Dakota so far, 5 rounds in, their top 5. Wayne Gretzky, Terry Sawchuk, Paul Coffey, Al McInnes, and Jonathan Huberdeau. So it's a solid lineup. I mean, you got McInnes and Coffey, defensive. You got Sawchuk. That's going to be a tough group to go. And then you got Gretzky. You got Huberdeau. So they're kind of leaning that Gretzky to do a lot of the work, going defensive for sure. Now Hamilton, Mario Lemieux, Teemu Selanne, Billy Smith, Mitchell Marner. So they got offense. They got a goalie. They look to get defensive here. Are there any top defensemen that are still on the board modern day? Or I don't know about any of these other leagues. They're pretty much all going to be in the pretty low rated, like no gems that we can pull from here, huh? If you guys know of any gems of any other guys, let me know. But I mean, it's pretty much going to be low rated guys that we're not necessarily touching yet. There's solid free agents here that are in the 80s, so they might definitely be looked at. Anyway, so AHL. What about NHL, rather? Defensemen. I think Hamilton might be looking for defense, and they're going to take Drew Daughtry. So he's going to head off the board to Hamilton for their 5th pick. Man, Daniel Bryan almost got pinned right there. We can also do it with my other football league. After 4 seasons, I did like a mix-up draft. It was called a draft or pass. And basically, we would pick a team and then pick another team. And you can either draft a player from that team, but if you did, you had to send your team over. So if one team took a quarterback from another team, they'd have to send their quarterback. So it'd be a trade for a trade. If they didn't want to do that, then they would pass, and then that team could draft. So maybe we'll do something similar to that as we go along with this league, because as I've said before, I don't buy the new games every year. I keep the game and play it for many, many years. So I'll probably be playing NHL 21 for many, many years to come before I buy the next game. So these teams will all be on here. And then if I ever get the new game, we'll just have to recreate everyone, and hopefully all these players are still in the game. But anyway, Quebec City. Patrick Waugh, Larry Robinson, Leon Draisaitl, and Patrick Kane. So they maybe need left wing. Help. They can also have some more defensemen. Amitri Panarni, he hasn't gone yet. You know, Martin's been around forever. They're going to go ahead and take Martin. Let's take him to go with Patrick Kane. So that's going to be a solid line there in Quebec City. So they're going to have Draisaitl, Patrick Kane, and Marchant on the front line. So modern day guys. And then Larry Robinson and Patrick Waugh in the back. Kansas City, Gordie Howe, Ovechkin, Joe Sakic, Connor Hellebuck. They got one of the best lines in the league. And now they look like they are going to go possibly defensive. Nicky Lindstrom's already off the board. We drafted Bork already, right? And Larry Robinson also went. Paul Coffey is also on the board. We did Pronger. Well, Dennis Povin. Yeah, that's who we're going to take to go to Kansas City next. So they're going to go defensive. Dennis Povint. All right, off to Orlando now. Brodeur, McDavid, Pronger, Aginla. They're also going to go defensive to help out with Chris Pronger. They're going to go Phil Housley. So Housley will be headed to Orlando. What would be a good name for Orlando? The Solar Bears are the real life. I guess we gotta look at some of the logos too, because the logos are kind of the inspiration for some of the team names. The Firestorm, Bellevue, Lafleur, Robitaille, Belfour. All these teams, they might just start going in order now, right? All these guys got drafted, right? I didn't miss anyone. I think everyone from pretty much the top of the top got drafted here. Howard Chuck got drafted. So we're getting into the 90s now. We're starting to run out of our tops of the tops. What about Mr. Malovich? Didn't come off the board yet, so that's who's going to go to Atlanta. Some more left wing help. They already have Robitaille on the team. Frank Malovich. All right, off to Wisconsin. Sidney Crosby, Vasilevsky, Brett Hull, Chris Chelios. They want some more help with Chelios. There are still some 90s on the board. You just got to dig for them. Guess that's part of the fun. Yeah, Robinson already went. about Serge Savard teaming up with... actually, there are no... teaming up with Chelios. So Chelios and Savard, along with Vasilevsky. So that's going to be a hard team to score on, Wisconsin. All right, Houston's up next. They've drafted Messier, Glenn Hall, Steve Yzerman, Ted Lindsay. They want to go center again. They've already got 2 centers on. They got Messier. They really need some wing help here. There's not many wings left. Is Chris Jericho's dad in here? Mr. Ted Irvine, is he anywhere in the game? Yeah, you're dropping now into the 80s if you want to draft any wings. Well, Jari Curry hasn't been drafted yet, so that's who they're going to take in Houston. So Messier, Hall, Yzerman, Lindsay, Curry in Houston. Hartford, they drafted Richard, Plant, Howardchuk, and Bork. So they've definitely gone legendary with their picks. Goalie, center, defenseman, right wing. And they're going to take Rob Blake. They're going to add to their defense here. Rob Blake drafted in 88 to the Kings. So Blake going to Hartford. So Blake, Bork, and Plant. Your back crew there. All right, Michigan. They're going to draft back-to-back. They've already drafted Forsberg, Lindstrom, Carey Price, McKinnon. Let's see where they go next. They're going to take Mike Mondo. So Mondo, another center off the board. No shame in that. You got a couple of lines to fill. Mike Modano. McGinnis is already off the board. There's another center. Now we're getting to the 90. When are we going to see our first 80 come off the board? Who's gonna be gutsy enough to be like, you know what? I'm taking the first 80 off the board. Oh, Brian almost got pinned again by Dustin. These guys are all off the board. So unless they go modern, which they might have to, we might be getting our first 80 to come off the board. They're looking for left wing help. Any left wings? Nope. And all into the 80s. Again, we could probably dig through some of these rosters here. Huberdeau already went. Down to the 80s again. Ovechkin. There's still some, what about, Artem Panarin? He didn't go yet. Panarin. Artem Panarin. So he's going to head off to Michigan. Oh, there's going to be some hockey fan that hates the way I'm saying a lot of these names. Oh, I'm telling you. It's hard, a lot of these names. I mean, some hardcore hockey fans are going to know how to say them all. I say I'm pretty casual. Like, I have my teams. Well, Daniel Bryan ended up winning that one there. I have my teams, like I said, I watch the Red Wings and the Wild pretty regularly, so I know those teams up and down, but I haven't seen a lot of these players for over 2 years. So there you go. So Hartford They also need some left wing help. Let's see. Do we have any 90s left? We might have to... Any 90 left wingers still on the board? Or have we exhausted them all? Bucks and Adam Cole backstage talking. Let's listen in. We can listen to this promo, right? While we're searching for players.
I could say that I'm feeling festive because it's our Halloween episode. But you know something? Every single week teaming with you for a year felt like Halloween. And why is that? Because while I was always the best out machine, while I was always the cleaner, while I was always...
Listening to Kenny Omega talk.
There you were, cosplaying as a cowboy. Trying to fool everyone into something that you really weren't. When I know the man behind the hat. I know the man behind the shirt, the man behind those skin-tight jeans. And I know your insecurities.
Yeah, they're gonna have to either just wait or just take a shot on our first 80 if they want to get a left winger on their team. Is there Atwell? Nope, that's all stars.
If people only knew you the way that I knew you, they wouldn't be chanting cowboy shit. They'd be calling you what you really are. Coward shit. See you next week.
My goodness, that's fighting words there from Omega. Can't even repeat that, man. And we're on a commercial. Yeah, they're gonna maybe time to look at the legends, but looks like we might be digging into the 80s to get our left wingers. Our first 80 would come off the board. That would be Hartford is who we're drafting. So it's been so long, I don't even remember who 88. Let me see if they can get 89 in here. Ted Lindsay already went. Keith Kachuk. I always like Keith Kachuk, but is there not even an 89? Do they have to go all the way to 88 if they want to take a left wing? Well, here we go. They're going to take Daniel Sedin, 89. So our first 80 is off the board. And Daniel Sedin is off to Hartford. This is round number 6 of our draft. Houston is up. Messier, Hall, Yzerman, Lindsay, Curry off the board. They're going to start doubling up now. These guys all went. I don't think Mr. Trottier went yet, did he? He did not. So that is who Houston is going to take. Another center, right? They're loading up. They want all their lines to be solid. I need his number. I'm writing all these down. Number 29. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So he's out the board. Wisconsin. Crosby, Vasilevsky, Hall, Chelios, Savard. Do they go center? They're going to go center. They're going to take Stan Mikita. I'm going to find out somewhere along the line I doubled up. All right, Mikita out. The Firestorm, Atlanta. Bellevue, Lafleur, Robitaille, Belfour. McGinnis already went, right? Yes. I'm going to go with their next center. I'll see. So we got to start going over here now. We're running out of 90s. Now we're really getting into the 80s. Who's going to be the first one to take their second goalie? This guy has been solid. Oh, that's Peter. I thought that was Stastny with the Avalanche, man. But that's Peter Stastny. Wrong Stastny. We already drafted Jeremy Roenick, right? Chelios, Howe. What about Bobby Clark? That's a 90 that's still on the board, a center. So there's no shame in having a guy like Bobby Clark being on your second line that can just come in. All right, off to Orlando. Brodeur, McDavid, Pronger, Iginla, Housley. Dior and Fleury. Why not? Get some more offensive help. That's who they're going to take. Another right winger. Get the best player while you can. Dior and Fleury. Kansas City. This a lot of people are looking at them right at the bat. The team to beat: Gordie Howe, Alex Ovechkin, Joe Sakic, Connor Hellebuck, Dennis Povin, and Tony Schiavone in the ring now. Did he come off the board yet? Is that Marcel Donnie? He is not on anyone's draft board, so they're going to take another gem, a 92, that we just completely overmixed. That's part of the draft, man. I mean, we just completely overlooked that one and going to play behind Joe Sakic. I mean, that's a big steal. Getting drafted this late, still on the board. So Gordie Howe, Ovechkin, Joe Sakic, Hellebuck, Povin, and Donnie for Kansas City. Quebec City, Patrick Waugh, Larry Robinson, Draisaitl, Kane, and Marchant. Rob Blake, is he still available? We're searching. Rob Blake was taken by Hartford, so he is not available. Thought we found another gem there. Ginla is already off the board. Sedin already went. What about the other Sedin? Sting and Schiavone. Let's turn it up and listen to Sting while we're drafting. So Daniel Sedin went. So Henrik Sedin is gonna go next. Oh, Sting couldn't even say anything. JR. So yeah. Henrik Sedin. Oh, it's MJF. I might have to mute here. The way MJF talks. So both Sedin brothers into our new Extreme Hockey League. Hamilton, Mario Lemieux, Solani, Billy Smith, Marner, and Daughtry. Fleury already went. Who's going to be our first 88 to go, huh? We're getting down to it. Larry Murphy hasn't come off, so that's who they're going to take. They're going to go defensive here. So Murphy will be back there with Daughtry and Billy Smith. All right, and we're back to North Dakota, who's going to get to draft twice into the 7th round. Gretzky, Sawtruck, Coffey, McGinnis, Huberdeau. Oh my god, I can't repeat what they're saying. I think they're gonna go. They're gonna go right here. These two, a couple of 89s. Listen to MJF. My. All right, North Dakota's pretty solid too. Back to Hamilton. Maybe they're gonna head back. Can I search for, if I go to the active roster, can I search for every player? Oh my god, guess not. Can I just get a list of every team? So you have to go team by team. That does make it hard. Oh, Sting laid out MJF there. Scalded dog, man. All right, NHL. So we got to find... we are on Hamilton in the 7th round here. They're still looking into the 89 range. Oh, Sean Spears is out now, taking out Sting. The Stinger. Braden Point, I mean, that's a Stanley Cup champ right there. They already got 2 right wingers. They already got a center, but, you know. Why not add to it? Braden Point. All right. Quebec City, Patrick Waugh, Larry Robinson, Dryzettel, Kane, Marchand, Sedin, Henrik Sedin. You can still hear MJF talking. It's watch-along style, man. Did all these guys, we already drafted all these guys? Maybe not. Carlson's still on the board. What about Quebec City? Patrice Bergeron still out there? They're going to take Bergeron. So there's still some 90s on the board, some steals after teams are going after some 80s. If you're a hockey fan and not a wrestling fan, you're really confused right now hearing wrestling in the background. But this is TB Sports, man. We do it all. We're into the 7th round here of the draft. We're going to call it after 10. And then the next time we stream, we're just going to do like 2 at a time until we get to our 40-man roster. So Kansas City up next. Howe, Ovechkin, Sakic, Hellebuck. You already went. Pasternak's still on the board. That's who they're gonna take. So, like I said, still some hidden gems out there. Teams were drafting in the 80s, but we still got some 90s on the board. In the modern era. Orlando, Brodeur, McDavid, Pronger, Iginla, Housley, and Fleury. That'd be Thorne Fleury. They're going to take Nicholas Backstrom, so he'll back up Connor McDavid. Sting got laid out again. My goodness. That MJF. This is good studying material, too, to relearn all these players that I haven't gotten to see for 2 years because of the way the league's been set up. TBS Championship Tournament starting next. Kopitar is still on the board. And Wisconsin already has Sidney Crosby. They already got Makita. Do they need another center? Ratanton still there as well. He's a 90. O'Reilly. Let's go ahead and take a 90 that's still on the board. Mikko. Ratanton. Alright, we're not going to listen to commercials, so we're going to turn that back down. Mikko Ratanton. Alright. Off to Wisconsin now. Or I should say Houston. That was Wisconsin that just drafted. Houston. Mark Messier, Glenn Hall, Steve Yzerman, Ted Lindsay, Jari Kurri, and Brian Troteter. Now, I don't know. Still some 90s out there, but might be getting our first 88 off the board. Speaking of Stanley Cup, I don't think Mr. Victor Hedman got drafted yet, so he is going to be headed towards Houston here. And Houston actually didn't have any defensemen on their team. So that is a big steal for them to wait this late into the 7th round to get a defenseman that's a 91. So that works out well for them. So Messier, Hall, Yzerman, Lindsay, Curry, Hedman. Hartford, Richard, Plant, Howardchuk, Bork, Blake, and Daniel Sedin. So a lot of defense. Speaking of steals, someone that's still on the board right there. Steven Stamkos, these Tampa Bay Lightning. That shows you how stacked this Lightning team is. Look at how many 90s. We're going to look at the Lightning roster, but it's ridiculous. But Steven Stamkos heading up north to Hartford. Let's look at the Lightning roster real quick. Maybe we could just purge the Lightning. That'll be half these rosters, right? I mean, look at this. I don't think Nikita Kucherov, he hasn't come off the board yet either. Vasilevsky's been drafted. Hedman, Stamkos, Point. Like, all these guys are drafted into our league that are in... Like, it's ridiculous how stacked this team is. And that's exactly what's going to happen as Michigan will draft 2 in a row. And they are going to take another guy that he wasn't on one of the All-Star rosters. So he slipped through at 92, Nikita Kucherov. So he will back up McKinnon, Forsberg, Lindstrom, Price, McKinnon, Modano, and Panarin. And they're going to draft back-to-back here. Michigan, as we're now into the 8th round. So we're cruising along now. What other top guys are... Tarasenko, solid guy, former Tampa Bay Lightning. Any 90s that are still out there that we didn't get? What about Mr. Malkin, who hasn't been taken yet? He can. They're going to take him, Evgeny Malkin. So they have Malkin, Modano, and Forsberg as their centers, which is solid. Hartford. They're going to search for some 90s of their own that are still available that hadn't been picked up yet. Did we ever draft Kopitar? Did anyone take him? Here comes Penelope. No. So that is who they're going to take at center. So they already got Stamkos. They already got Howardchuk. So a lot of these lines, I mean, they're going to be some deep lines. Kopitar. Is going to Hartford. We're in round 8. So we're going to get to round 10 again, then we're going to call it. And then the next time we stream, when we do hockey, we are going to double up. So everybody, it's going to be the same order, but you can pick 2 picks at a time. And then maybe when we get to the end, we'll just do 3 picks as well, just to get through. But the first 10, I think, you're going to be your most important. So back to Houston. Houston may be searching for some 90s. These are all 90s. I don't know if these guys all got drafted already. Not worried about any other goalies for right now. Any 90s that we missed yet? Nope. Any hidden 90s that... Oh, there's one. Defensive. Oh, no, we already took a... I'm sorry, Mr. Josie already got taken. No, he did not. I thought he did already. Okay. Well, maybe not. So he is going to go to Houston to play with Victor Hedman. Roman Josie. So Houston, Messier, Hall, Yzerman, Lindsay, Curry, Trottier, Hedman, and Josie. So you got Hall, Hedman, and Josie in the back. Wisconsin, Crosby, Vasilevsky, Hall, Chelios, Savard, Mikata, and Rantanen. We're going to search for some more possible 90s that we didn't get taken yet. There's Carey Price, but, you know. And Kupitar already went. Barkov didn't go yet. Huberdeau did go. Let me just do a double check. Barkov. No Barkov yet, so... he is going to get picked up by Wisconsin. Alexander Barkov. So they got Sidney Crosby, Mikita, and Barkov off to the Firestorm. I got only 6 names listed here for Atlanta. Did I completely miss them? My God, I don't know if I missed them or if I accidentally deleted one of their names. But you know what? They'll get to draft twice to get to 8, so that's my bad. If I did draft them and I accidentally deleted, maybe somebody will be like, oh, you drafted this guy. I don't remember. It's been so long, but I only have 6 names written down for Atlanta, so they're going to draft twice right now to make up for that. And we're starting to run out of 90s and 89s. Well, here's one here. Sebastian Aho, center left winger. They haven't taken any defensemen yet. Maybe next they need to look for some defensemen. Are there any top defensemen still that need to get drafted? Because, man, they got a solid roster here in Boston. Any defensemen that are highly ranked that can go? Might have to... Well, here you go. Pietrangelo. Alex Pietrangelo. He will be headed to... He'll be headed to Atlanta. The Firestorm. That's the one team we have already made so far. So we know what they're going to look like. The red and creamsicle. Orlando, 8th round for Orlando. Let's head back to the Legends. See what ones are still out there now that we've kind of dug deep into the 80s a little bit. Did Ratelli go yet? Nope. So guess what? Well, Orlando's already got 2 centers. They got Backstrom, they got McDavid, but They're going to take another one. Here in the 8th round. Kansas City. They got a right wing, a left wing, a center, a goalie, a defenseman, a center, right wing. They're going to go ahead and take another center, too. They're going to take Adam Oates. 8th overall to Kansas City. Or not 8th. Kansas City's 8th draft pick. And Quebec City. Pick number 8 for them. Waugh, Robinson, Draisaitl, Kane, Marchant, Sedin, Bergeron. So far for them. I'm sure there's some gem we completely missed that we haven't taken yet that's probably sitting there at a really nice spot, really high, that we just blew right past. There's someone screaming at you, didn't draft him yet. This might be one right here. Did we draft Frank? I don't remember. Let's see. We're going to do a search here. We did. He went to the Firestorm, so he's already been drafted. So I thought we found another gem. I don't think we drafted Mr. Leach. Nope, not seeing any Brian Leach anywhere, so that is who Quebec City is going to scoop up with their 8th pick. So they're going to have quite the defense. So they'll have Robinson, they'll have Sedin, and they'll have Leach back with Patrick Waugh. Now we are off to Hamilton. What about Mr. Matz? Nope, he hasn't been taken yet. He's a center. So he'll join Lemieux and Point. Matt Sundin. And we're up to North Dakota again. So they're going to get to draft twice. And we're almost at the end of our first 10 picks. So North Dakota's picking twice. Did we take Bobby Clark yet? We did. He went to Atlanta. Brad Park, I know for sure he didn't go yet. They've already got 2 defensemen on the team, but I mean, there's still a 90 on the board. Did Mike Gartner go yet? Nope, not yet. So that is who North Dakota is going to take. Oh, wait, that's who they drafted most recently. They already drafted. They drafted him in the last round, so geez Louise. I'm losing it. Boy, oh boy, we're starting to run out of 89s here. 90s and 89s. So we might be into our first 88 category. Unless they want to go defensive. Ruby Soho just won. Yeah, that's it. So we're going to start going to the 88s now, officially. Into the 88 territory, North Dakota. But not bad picks. Johnny, he is going to go. 85-year-old going in the 8th round. And kicking off round number 9, North Dakota. They're going to go ahead and take Mr. Stasny. Be on the same team as Gretzky. Hamilton, we're on round number 9. We're going to go up and down one more time, and that'll be it. They don't need any more centers on Hamilton, so that's kind of off the table. Boy, oh boy, let's see if we can find any current timers that are 88 ranked, or else we're going to be into the 87s quickly. Looking for any 88s. Here's some 88s. Okay, there we go. Another Johnny. That's going to be left wing, which they need, so that's actually kind of perfect for Hamilton. They don't have any left wingers. They have 3 centers, 2 right wingers, 2 defense, and Billy Smith in goal. So that's going to be a perfect pick. They just drafted Matt Sundin with the number 13, so someone's going to have to change their number here. All right. Quebec City next. They're going to be looking for anyone in the 88 range. We can look at the All-Star roster. Defense, do they need any more defense? They already got 3 on their team, so as of right now, it's kind of one of those things. Do you really need to take them? What about centers? They already got 2. There's an 89 sitting right there if they want to get another center. What do you guys think in the chat? Maybe people hate this. The chat wasn't as lively as it was for past streams for the draft, so we'll have to make the next draft kind of quick. Shea Weber still out there. He's an 88, which is pretty solid. That is defense, though. They don't really need any more defense. So they're gonna send that pick back. They originally picked up the card and were giving it to the commish, but then they ran it back and said, "Wait a minute, we don't really need we don't need another center right now, or another defenseman, I should say, right now." I don't know if Courier went, but they do need left wing help, and I know for sure Mr. Giroux did not go yet, so that is who Quebec City is going to take. And then Kansas City, since they see that Mr. Courier's still out there, they're going to swipe in and take him, another center. These centers are high demand. All right, rolling on here in the 9th round. We're almost at the end. Orlando up next. Looking for any... Tarasenko still there. Not taken yet. And that is definitely Atlanta. Can use him. Lafleur is the only other right winger. So they're going to take Vladimir Tarasenko. And I promise before we start these games, I'm going to get a list, a laundry list, a phonetic saying of all these foreign names. But I know a lot, of course I know Tarasenko. He's been in the league forever. There's a lot of the names that I know, but then, like I said, some of the the newer guys, because I haven't gotten to see them play in years, or at least 2 years because of the pandemic. And a lot of the legends, the guys in the 50s and stuff with the French names, those are, oof. Here's another one, Ryan O'Reilly, that hasn't been taken yet. He's a center. And there's already 3 centers on Wisconsin, so even though he's highly rated, they don't really need him, so they're going to keep looking. They're going to take that card back. What about Tampa Bay? Look at, all the good players there. Here's a couple of top players that might not have got. I believe we did draft him. No. Marner. No, a 91. So another hidden gem. Now Wisconsin's already got a couple of right wingers, but you got 91 sitting out there. Anthony Green, look at that. He's wrestling here. So against Bobby Fish. All right, we are on to Houston now. Messier, Hall, Yzerman, Lindsay, Curry, Trottier, Hedman, Josie. There's a lot of good players on the Toronto side. But centers were kind of exhausting. We've used a lot of our centers. Here's center left wing, but Elias Pettersson, that he's got a solid overall, hadn't been taken yet. Maybe we can put him at left wing. It depends on what the game sets him up with. We're going to just let the game decide on the lines, of course. So Hartford with 2 left wing, 1 right wing, a goalie, 3 centers, and 2 defensemen. And Michigan is going to draft twice. And that is going to end their draft here with their 2 picks, because they're going to draft last in the 9th and first in the 10th. So Mark Stone still on the board. He is going to go to Michigan. And then, would this have been more fun if we already knew the teams? I don't know, blame EA. We can't make the teams without making the roster first, Here's a 91 that's still on the board. I don't think anyone's taken Carlson, right? No Carlson. So, I don't believe. Yeah, no Carlson. So 91 that slipped all the way down to the 10th. That's going to be a big gem and a big steal for the Michigan team, because they only had 1 defenseman, and it was Nicholas Lindstrom. So we're going to recap Michigan in just a moment. But they stole John Carlson in the 10th round. So in defense, John Carlson, Nicholas Lindstrom. Goalie is going to be Carey Price. And then on offense, you got Peter Forsberg. You have Nathan McKinnon. You have Mike Modano. You have Panarin. You have Nikita Kucherov. You have Evgeny Malkin. And you have Mark Stone. So Michigan, while they might be a little weak defensive, I don't know. I mean, Carey Price is solid. He took his team to the Stanley Cup last year. And now you got Lindstrom and Carlson back there. 2 defensemen rated in the 90s. And Carlson was a big steal coming in at the 10th. And then you got Stone, you got Malkin, you got Kucherov, you got McKinnon, you got Forsberg. So Michigan's looking solid. Hartford, they're up next. And did Backstrom go yet? They already got 3 centers. Bobby Fish is beating up this poor opponent here. What about Blake Wheeler? I know he didn't go yet. They need some right wing help, so Blake Wheeler. CM Punk coming out to run off Bobby Fish. Punk's had enough. All right, so Hartford. They drafted Maurice Richard, Jacques Plante, Dale Howarchuk, Ray Bork, Rob Blake, Daniel Sedin, Steven Stamkos, Andre Kopitar, Elias Pettersson, and Blake Wheeler. So that's a solid top 10. And, of course, like I said, we're going to do the later rounds, of course, in a separate stream, but we'll be drafting 2 at a time just to get through, because you got to get at least 40 on the roster. Maybe we'll do 2 at a time, and then when we get to the end, we can start drafting 3 at a time or something. Whatever, we're open to doing anything. So Houston, they're going to take their last pick here. What about any legends? Let's switch back. What about free agents? Who is this? This 18-year-old? Alf Wang. Is this someone they just threw in the game? It must be someone's kid. Well, let's draft him. What the heck? That could be fun. How many, does Houston need another center? They don't. So we'll pass on that for right now. Let's go to the legends here. I forgot we could break it down like this. Oh my god, there are some sneaky legends. We didn't go to this list. The Alumni Association, I was just looking. So there are some more hidden gems here. And here's one, Scott Niedermayer, that hasn't been taken yet. And that's who Houston is going to snag as their final pick. Did I miss Houston? I'm either accidentally deleting things or I'm forgetting to draft, because Houston only has 8 as well, so Houston's going to draft twice. How am I missing? I must just be scrolling right past. So Houston's going to take Niedermayer. They already have some great defense. The whole sanctity of this draft being thrown off with people drafting 2 in a row in the middle of this thing. So yeah, I kind of forgot that we can go here and look for players. We already took Johnny. He already got taken. As for centers for Houston, Houston's got 3. They need left wing and right wing help. Yeah, there's some hidden players in these alumni rosters. We're definitely looking for wing help. See if they can find an 88 wing that's still out there. Man, the Blue Jackets aren't very highly rated. Did Brett Hull get drafted? Oh my god, I'm not seeing a Brett Hull. This could be another steal. Oh my god, I'm not seeing a Brett Hull on our list. So that's going to be a steal for Houston, who's going to take the Dallas legend, who's going to stay in Dallas. And they needed right-wing help. And in the 10th round, they're going to steal Brett Hull. Yeah. Ooh, I hope after I go to all this work, it's not going to do something weird where it's like you can only, pay people so much money and it messes you up or something. Maybe I could test with the Atlanta roster real quick to make sure. But Houston, they got their 10. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mark Messier, Glenn Hall, Steve Yzerman, Ted Lindsay, Jari Kurri, Brian Trottier, Victor Hedman, Roman Josi, Scott Niedermayer, and Brett Hull. That's a very solid roster there. Wisconsin, their 10th and final pick here. There's a Gonchar. He hadn't been taking A's in 89 overall. Wisconsin's going to go ahead and load up. on that defensive help. They're going to take him. Mr. Sergey. Sergey Gonchar. So that's it for Wisconsin. Crosby, Vasilevsky, Hall, Chelia, Savard, Mikita, Barkov, Marner, and Gonchar. For Atlanta, Beleu, Lafleur, Robitaille, Belfour, Clark, Aho, Tarasenko, Petrotangelo, Brett Hull, who we just took a moment ago. I guess he was more famous for being in Detroit. I called him a Stars legend, but, he split time. Still some 90s on the board, but they don't need a... Centers have pretty much been all taken. Oh, here's a steal. Here's a steal right here. Left wing that was still on the board in the 10th. Brendan Shanahan, one of my favorite players growing up. One of the reasons I became a Red Wings fan. Shanahan and Yzerman in the 90s. That was the team right there. And Brendan Shanahan's going to stay in red as he goes to Atlanta, the Firestorm. So the left wingers, Robitaille, Shanahan, they also got Tarasenko. They got Bobby Clark. Atlanta's looking good. Orlando now. Orlando's only got 8 as well. I'm either forgetting to write stuff down or I'm accidentally deleting. So Orlando's going to take 2 people as well. They're going to take Mark Howell here in the defense. And then Orlando gets 1 more. Let's see. They have 3 centers, 2 right wings, 3 defense, so no left wings. Let's see if they can steal a left wing here. Someone that's still on the board. A steal late in the 80s or 90s. There's Shanahan. I was going to say almost right there, but no. What do you think? Should we just name our Hartford team the Whalers? I'll let you guys weigh in. Robitaille already went. He was already drafted. Any hidden left winger still on the board that Orlando can take? They don't have a single left wing on their team. I debated too about Minnesota. Like, of course, hockey's big in Minnesota. We're doing Wisconsin, and we're doing Michigan. We're doing North Dakota. I really debated Minnesota, but didn't end up going with them. Frankie? Let's see. Frank on a team. He is. He's on Atlanta. So, thought we found a steal. We did not. Well, I mean, this is right wing, and he can move around. The 76-year-old. But they're looking for... Oh, here we go. Here we found one. It's 66. Bob Gainley. A steal for Orlando in the 10th. Left wing. Number 23. Their first left winger drafted. All the way down the 10th, but a 90 overall. So they got Fleury, they got Iginla, they got Connor McDavid, Martin Brodeur in net, they got Connor McDavid, they got Pronger on defense, Iginla, Fleury, Nicholas Backstrom. So Orlando's looking pretty good too. Kansas City. They're going to draft their final pick here. They've already got 3 centers, Four centers, actually. Oh, my goodness. I didn't even realize what I'm doing here with Kansas City. They're just taking the top players. Two right wingers, a left winger, and a defenseman. So maybe is there some defense? We only got one defense on Kansas City. Kansas City, actually, the one they're going for the top. They don't even care about defense. And they took Hellebuyck, but they got Gordie Howe, Alex Ovechkin, and Joe Sakic, which is going to be your top three in this whole league. I don't care what anybody says. So Kansas City, I mean, definitely the roster to beat. They got... But let's get some defense. They want someone to back up Mr. Connor Hellebuyck. Oh, here's a steal right here. Chris Chelios. I'm going to double check. I don't think we've done Chelios yet, but Kansas City, the rich get richer. No, Chelios did get drafted by Wisconsin. I didn't think he had been taken yet. Thought we found a steal for Kansas City. I know Robinson got taken. Savard did get taken. All right, well, Kansas City, they didn't quite luck out all the way. Thought we found another steal for Kansas City. Nina Meyer already went. Looking for defense. Already took him. Pronger already went. Are there any steals? Coffee already went. We took Rob Blake already. Might not be many steals left at defense. Archer is battling in the tournament now. Going up against Eddie Kingston. Yep, I'm thinking unless we go back to the modern to finish out. Unless we can find, I think all our legendary defensemen have been taken, the solid picks here. Kansas City looking for their final. Any top defenseman left? That's who Kansas City's on the hunt for this final pick. Jump in the comments if you guys know too. Where can we find the solid final defenseman? Let us know. Eddie Kingston won. It's a big win for Kingston, so he'll move on in the tournament. You know what? Kansas City, they said, forget it. We have a bunch of centers. We only have one left winger in Alex Ovechkin, and we're going to go really young. They're going to take Dylan Larkin. So they're loading up offensively. They're going to be the Mike Leach of the league. All offense, forget about defense. So Gordie Howe, Alex Ovechkin, Joe Sakic, Connor Hellebuyck, Adam Oates, Sean Courier, Dylan Larkin, just loading up offensively. Quebec City is up now. We're down to the final three picks, so we're wrapping things up here. This is going to be it for the first 10 rounds, and then we'll blow through these hopefully quicker the next time. It took 2 hours. I mean, I think we had fun tonight, right? You guys have fun? Maybe, possibly. So Quebec City up next. They got a draft. Starting to look... Now we're pretty much getting down into the 80s for our draft picks. Weber got taken already, right? I'm not seeing a Shea Weber come up. Quebec City's already got a bunch of defensemen. They're going to take one more. They're going to be the opposite of Kansas City. So Quebec City, they finish with a lot of defensemen, 4 of them. Patrick Waugh, Larry Robinson, Draisaitl, Patrick Kane, Brad Marchant, Henrik Sedin, Patrice Bergeron, Brian Leetch, Claude Giroux, and Shea Weber. So your big guys up front are going to be Draisaitl, Patrick Kane, Claude Giroux. I mean, not a bad group up front. And then Patrick Waugh in the goal. But Quebec and Kansas City, that's going to be the interesting battle because they went defense. They went Patrick Waugh, Larry Robinson, Henrik Sedin, Leetch, and Weber. So those are all the guys that Kansas City's got to try to score on. And we are down to the final 2 picks of the opening night of the draft here. As now Hamilton is up. And for Hamilton, they have 3 centers, 2 defensemen, 2 right wing, and a left wing. So they've pretty much spread the love around. So at this point for Hamilton, you're just taking best available. So anyone that's going to be in the high 80s, they're going to look to take. I guess without the exception of center, kind of got all your centers that you need with 3 on the roster. Let's see here. Well, here you go. I mean, it's a 87, but you need help at wing, and this guy is very versatile. So that is who is going to go last to Hamilton. Oh, the well-dressed guys are in the ring with the American Top Team. Everyone's yelling on this show. Everyone's always yelling, right? All right, final pick. It's North Dakota. Gretzky, Sawchuk, Coffey, McGinnis, Huberdeau, Gardner, Stasny. They have 3 centers, a goalie, 2 defensemen, left wing, right wing, and left wing. So they're doing solid as well. They can pretty much pick anyone, the highest rated that's left. Did Ryan O'Reilly go yet? Because that would be a big, I mean, it'd be another center, but no. So you know what? That's who they're going to take. North Dakota is going to end our opening night of the draft by taking at 89 overall, Ryan O'Reilly. So there you go. Ryan O'Reilly, Stasny, Wayne Gretzky. So they have a lot of centers. I guess you can move these guys to other positions too. But you got 4 solid centers. You got one of the best goalies in history. You got one of the top players in history in Gretzky, drafted first overall. So that's going to do it, as we said, for night 1 of the draft. We're going to call it here. We drafted 10 times 10, 100 players. So we got another 30 to go. Let me look at the roster again. It's 30 that you got to do, right? Let's see here. Creation zone. Create team. I think you could do, you can create more than 8 teams as well. Edit team. Yeah, that's the one team we know, the Atlanta Firestorm. That's right. We gotta still go into this and do all the creation. It's gonna be a bit before we get started, but it'll be fun for sure. Roster. So yeah, it's at least 40 that we gotta get on the team. Can we remove players or add or switch? Add player, remove asset. Oh, add player. Okay. So if we wanted to go ahead and just get Atlanta started, just to make sure this all works. So we would go to Alumni Association, and for the Firestorm, Mr. No, we want alumni all time. So here, okay, here we can start removing guys. So I'm just gonna put the first couple guys for our Atlanta roster together. So there you go. Levu and LaFleur. Boom. Man, this cap space is going to go. I hope you can just put all these guys. That's going to be the test, too. I mean, I just want this to be the best league. They'll just let you put everyone on the team. Hope they're not going to make this a whole thing. Or maybe we just pick the 10 best, and the rest we just kind of make... They just got to be nonchalant guys to fill out the roster. I really don't know. I've never done this on this game, so I don't know how it works. But just a interesting, fun experiment. Oof, that cap space is winding down. We might only be able to do 10 guys, and then that's it. Where is where's Belfour at? There he is. You've reached the maximum. Oh, I gotta kick another goalie off the team. Boom. Oh god, they're running out of cap space. Yeah, it might just be your top 10 and we just have to put scrubs on the team. Unless I can figure out a way that you can just add players without cap space. I thought it would just be like a free thing. You can just put whoever you wanted on the team, but it's not looking like that's the case. Now you got to go through all the roster. Remember where everyone is to add them back. This is a task and a half, isn't it, to put all this together? EA makes it hard, doesn't it? They just like there's no way to organize this alphabetically. You just got to remember where everyone was. I'm looking for Frankie. That's an interesting picture there. I should have really wrote down where all these guys were from. Does anyone remember where Frank Malovich was? Anyone? Anyone? Well, let's just Google it. Where was he? We can find this easily. Google search. He looks like was Toronto. There he is. Frankie. Oh my god, the cap space. It's going. Ain't looking good. Bobby Clark up next. Oh Lord. Well, maybe I can figure out another way to get all the guys on the team. That's so weird that they would limit you. Like, if you're just playing for fun, you should be able to put whoever you want on your roster. Not be limited. I mean, it's legendary guys. What contracts do they even have? Are they gonna let you save it with the I'm gonna try it. We're gonna see how far we can go with the negative cap space. These are all the guys that were drafted. This is Atlanta that we're putting our first 10 that we drafted. Oh, Golden Knights. That's right. He got taken from... There we go. He got taken. Tarasenko. That is the Blues. Oh my god, this negative cap space. And then Shanahan. And alumni all time. Or we can just go to the association. And Detroit. There we go. Shanahan. Those are our 10. I must have accidentally taken 2 guys out. I'm pretty sure I put everyone on the team. We're just going to have to pick 2 random players at the bottom. We'll have to take them out later. Alright, they're going to let me do this with the negative cap space. Oh, I can actually. Okay, so even if I have a negative cap space, it looks like we can just put whoever we want on the roster. That's comforting to know. Okay, well, so it doesn't matter. I guess only if we go into a season mode. Yeah, so there we go. That's going to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, the first rounds of the draft here. We got the first 100 players drafted. And next time we do this, we're going to do the next 300. Get up to 40 players, or at least get a decent amount, and then maybe we'll just put the rest on the team. But that's going to do it for the new Hockey League. The first 100 players have been drafted. And next time we join, we'll be drafting the rest of the players. So that'll do it for today. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you guys next time.